everybody. What a huge weekend of racing we have featuring Future Stars Friday alumni. I'm talking about the John Battaglia. That's tonight. We've got Gretzky the Great in there. We've got in the Devoted Dale. We've got VQuist as well as oh my gosh, I can't think of. I'm going to bring in my guest right now because we got another filly in there from the Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies, and it's the other Kenny McPeak filly, not Simply Ravishing, but Crazy Beautiful, who's going for the Lilies in there. And then, yes, I'm talking about you, Matt Carruthers. And then, of course, there's the Fountain of Youth, which is featuring Fire at Will, getting back, trying fast dirt for the first time. We have seen him on an off track before. He, of course, your champion in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And we're also going to see, it's probably the most anticipated of all these preps, the Southwest, a rematch of essential quality, undefeated, your Breeders, TVG, Breeders' Cup Juvenile champ, and Jackie's Warrior, who up until that point had just been knocking people's socks off. So Matt, we're going to start off. First of all, I just want to sulk for a minute. If I seem a little off my game at the top of the show, I need to sulk just a little bit, okay? So hear me out. You know I do the analysis for Tampa. You're familiar, yes?
The longest I've gone on camera without speaking, by the way, ever. I've never gone minutes with.
I should have introduced you right away. Okay, listen.
That's why I nodded.
So I was having this day. I haven't been bad at Tampa. I haven't been bad, I gotta say. But today, all my top picks, like I was having, I give out a top three. I've had, a lot of second choices win today. I had a couple, third choice wins today. But my top picks were running up the track.
No good.
And I was like getting so
I can't relate to that,
no, I know you can't at all.
I'm sure it stinks.
So then I had a 6-5 top pick win. Yeah, whoop-de-doo, right? I had given out a 20-1 shot in the last that I liked because of the pedigree for turf, right? Sure. And the horse just ran his eyeballs out, got bumped in the stretch. He had been bet down to 15-1, still a great price. And he finished third after duking it out. So I'm a little sad right now. You heard me screaming down here and you thought something was wrong.
A great pick and a great bet that you lost money on. I just
I know. Mr. $18 almost takes the entire pot. And the pick 5 for $22,000 the other day or yesterday.
Yeah, that was 24 hours ago. Yeah.
Okay, horse player problems, right? But in any case, you heard me screaming down here. You thought something was wrong.
What was going on? Yeah, I was actually concerned.
You were concerned. It was pretty funny, actually. Yes, because you when you get upset about a race, you internalize it. I just yell.
Oh. Wow.
Okay. Is everything okay in there?
Yeah, I'm just, it's touche. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, in any case,
our living room, it's like when you walk through our living room right now, it's like this.
I know. It's
you got to be really,
very
really careful. And things are falling left and right, but it's
okay.
It's okay. Anyway, I was a future star at one point in time too. I thought I'd throw it out there. So it's always good to be a guest on this show.
Oh, I love the Track and Beyond. They've got Pharaoh and Victor as their icon. That's awesome. Hi.
That is cool. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about this. John Battaglia, that is tonight.
It's a couple hours. It's like in 2 hours.
So $100,000 race goes off at 8:16 Eastern times. Race 5 at Turfway. Again, it's featuring a Future Stars Friday alumni in Gretzky the Great, named after, of course, Wayne. And it's fitting because he's a son of Nyquist, who won the
real GOAT, right? I mean, come on. I mean, we all know. I mean, there's Brady and there's Jordan, but I'm not even really a hockey guy. There's Gretzky. I mean, his numbers compared to other people, his contemporaries, Gretzky's the great one. He's a good one.
So, son of Nyquist won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in 2015, went on to become only the second horse to then win the Derby. What do you think about this horse trying, the synthetic there at Turfway? He's been on it before when a turf race came off at Woodbine, and he won by 4 1/4 lengths. And what do you make of him? Well, actually, should we show the backtrack to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf first, the race that he's coming out of?
Let's do that.
Let's do that first.
And then we'll dig in.
Everybody take in mind, this was also going to feature Fire at Will, who we're going to be talking about when we discuss the Fountain of Youth. So, keep an eye on both horses here, so we don't have to show the replay twice.
So I forget, we do talk over this, right?
Well, we can. I can either full screen it and we don't talk, or you can talk over. Are there things you would like to say regarding the race?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's blab during it.
Okay, we'll blab during it then.
Most of our viewers have probably seen the race anyways a few times, but they haven't heard this kind of analysis.
Oh my gosh!
While they're watching the race,
watch out.
So all right, he's 7-1 in this race. It's Breeders' Cup. That's one reason why we love it, because you have 85 horse fields in every race. That's one reason why we love to gamble at 14 in this race. Outador, I think, is the horse. I love speaking for others. We both liked Outador, and he runs well. He's I don't know what he was. He's 7-1 or something. We figured he'd get an easy lead, and he did. And figured he'd get an easy lead and not set ridiculous fractions, and he did. He wasn't good enough. He looked at 23-3 for the opening quarter. It wasn't the main track at Keeneland, but so that's a I don't know, pedestrian. That's not a real quick opening quarter, even with 2-year-olds in a Breeders' Cup race, and he's by himself. Gretzky the Great is sitting in second.
Yes.
That's Gretzky.
Fire Will right to his inside in third.
Exactly. So when you have a slow pace, what happens? The speed doesn't back up. And that was the case in this race. The top three were the top three all the way around. And now we're banging pots and pans. And so I didn't think he ran that great, because the horse saving all the ground in third part of the trip wins for fun. The pace setter holds on for third. And why is Gretzky the Great going backwards at this point?
Right.
The pace is slow. So I didn't think this performance was that great. I didn't really like him going into this race. I didn't like the winner either. I wish I would have. I didn't have Fire at Will. We have the horse that gets caught by I believe that was the O'Brien horse, Battleground, who was favored, who got up for second in the race. But I even look back at Gretzky the Great, Ren, even though the win in the summer, a race I respect, the third place finisher in that race is still a maiden. The runner-up in that race hasn't raced since. Then you have the juvenile turf, Outador, they tried dirt in the Springboard Mile. It didn't work out very well for that horse. And then back to the summer, American Monarch, who was fourth in that race, went to New York and didn't beat a horse in the Pilgrim.
Well, that's not good.
So I don't know how good the summer stakes was. That's the race that concerns me. I don't think he ran great in the Breeders' Cup, and then, he won the Grade 1 at Woodbine. I don't think that was a really strong race.
Well, you've got to figure, though, that they still had a lot of faith. And there is something to common sense when you're looking. You can look at all the past performances. You can look at all the charts, replays, et cetera. There's still something. It's as basic as it sounds. There is still something when you see high-profile connections reserve big names for horses. They obviously thought this horse has ability to name him Gretzky the Great. And I know that sounds silly to a lot of the more seasoned, cynical handicappers out there, but it's true, right? You don't give a horse.
Part of it is he's by Nyquist. So there's the hockey.
Well, yes, of course, they're. But for example, they were saving a name like Frankel for Frank. Not that this is Wayne Gretzky. Obviously, it would be different if it was just a one word. Because then you really would have to go to the jockey club and get permission and everything, get written permission from Wayne himself. But, he likes
the races too. Likes the races.
Yes, he does. Savvy. Mm-hmm. And of course, our good friend Eddie Olczyk. Shout out. I doubt he's watching, but the off chance.
He's probably traveling, probably.
All right. So now we do have this field scratched down. It's 11 horses. The 13 is going to draw in because the 5 Kinetic Sky for Brad Cox is out, as is the 12 Warrior in Chief for Kenny McPeak. So again, the 13 Bakwena gets in for Darren Miller, 20 to 1 shot. So I don't know if that affects anybody's plays or tickets. Now, if anybody out there, by the way, if you're watching, you have a question, feel free to ask away. If there's a horse you like and you want to, pick the great Matt Carruthers' brain to find out if he's seeing the same angle you are, feel free to, jump in with that. who do you like in here? Since it sounds like you are, not all that keen on Gretzky the Great getting it in the net.
I mean, me and you, obviously, since we're married, we're married couples that we chat a lot.
We do chat.
And I try to beat favorites often, but very rarely am I surprised if I'm wrong when the favorite beats me. I mean, every once in a while, there's a favorite that I just loathe, think has no chance, and I'm actually surprised when they win. But most of the time when the favorites win, I'm like, okay, I was wrong. I knew he could win, but I just thought it was a bad play. It was a play against. I thought his percentage of winning was relatively low compared to his odds, and I like other horses a little bit better in the field that are better prices. So if he wins, it's not like I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe Gretzky the Great won this race. I mean, this isn't even a grade stakes race, and this horse has won a grade 1. And it's Mark Casse who might win like 78 races over the next couple of days. I mean, that's right. He's like loaded in every race tomorrow. I mean, Got Stormy, for instance, she's running tomorrow. I thought the Cox horse was going to be tough. For me, that was a big scratch, Kinetic Sky. It actually made things easier because I was kind of vacillating back and forth between two horses, and one was kind of a short price, Kinetic Sky, the other horse is not. So I'm picking a horse, but now with the two scratches, a 9-2 comes out in Kinetic Sky, and an 8-1 shot comes out, right? 8-1, yeah, in Warrior in Chief. And you combine that with a kind of a mediocre morning line. The horse I like that's 30-1 morning line, I'm guessing is going to be 7 or 8-1.
Yeah.
In post time. I'm going to go with Noble Exception for my guy, Jack Sisterson.
Okay.
And love Jack. He trains for Calumet Farm. This is a street sensitive, an AP Indy mare. There's some pedigree here. He debuted this horse at Arlington on the synthetic, the only time this horse ran on synthetic. And he was a 7-5 favorite. It wasn't the best field in the world. I watched the race a couple of times. He broke from the rail. He actually didn't break particularly well at all. Oh. Then he rushed up on the inside to take the lead. Then he relinquished the lead, and then he kind of circled that horse, as you'll see often as they kind of turn for home inside the quarter pole. And I thought he won pretty effortlessly in the race. And Jack, I wouldn't say, is the most aggressive guy in the world from a training standpoint. And he goes to the American Pharaoh in the second start of his
lot of faith in his horse.
Grade 1. And it doesn't work out. He doesn't break well. He's between horses. I know Jack pretty well, and the only else I have talked to Jack a little bit, and he's told me that this horse does not like to be inside. And this horse has been towards the inside in 3 starts, including that most recent race.
I'm very sorry, everybody. Ava,
she's vocal.
She's 2.5. She's gonna do what she's gonna do.
So anyway, the horse doesn't like to be inside, so he thinks the outside is really going to make this horse a lot more comfortable. That's not uncommon for horses. A lot of horses like to be
right. No, that's for sure.
So anyway, so you go American Pharaoh, doesn't work out. Then you go Churchill, October 25th, and he did show a lot of speed in that race. Ultimate Badger's not a bad horse who won that race. He came back and ran 3rd to Drain the Clock, who's going to be the horse to catch in the Fountain of Youth. He did that in the Swale, undercard on Holy Bull Day at Gulfstream a few weeks ago. So I don't see a lot of pace in this race, Ren. I think this horse will get a nice outside kind of stalking trip, maybe stalk Gretzky the Great, maybe stalk the 3, Twirling Mamba, the 4, Like the King. Maybe you're sitting in 4th on the outside. We know he likes synthetic. I think you throw out he was 5-1. I know he was 5-1 in the American Pharaoh. He's 30-1 morning line in the Battaglia. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Not with his pedigree. He's training really well. I'm going to take a shot with Declan Cannon, Jack Sisterson, with Notable Exception. I'm sure if Mark loses this race, he'll be happy if Declan Cannon is the the winner. But anyway, a good young rider, and 7-8-1, somewhere in that vicinity, I think is the price. Yeah.
I will give you a small little pedigree note on that horse because that's my jam. And that is that the dam there, Poco Mas, because here's the thing, everybody, a little shorthand handicapping tip for you. You can kind of gauge a horse's class, female family class, real quickly by just taking assessment, because everybody knows who the big sires are, right? Everybody knows if you see a mare who's by Tapit, if you see a mare who's by AP Indy, if you see a mare who is by Medaglia d'Oro, though you have to have black type in your family to get to those studs. So that's a quick shorthand way of knowing, okay, there must be black type in this family. So I look at your horse, you're like, oh yeah, Poco Moss, APND mare. Well, she's a half sister. Jam is a half sister to 2015's Sovereign Champion Turf Male Interpol.
Oh, all right, cool.
Just a fun note for you. Okay.
I'll admit, I've been doing this too long, so I don't really care when I make mistakes, because I'm always going to make mistakes. I'll probably make 7 more the rest of the show.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I'll admit, because for me, I say this all the time, jockeys don't particularly matter that much. And mainly because I think most of them are good, and I think it's 90% horse and then 10% connections. I put the horse, not the connections. I thought it was Declan Carroll at first. I looked down. It was Declan Cannon. So that's why I made Mark Cassidy. I was thinking Declan Carroll. You're probably, why would Mark Cassidy be happy that Declan Cannon won? Because I'm thinking Declan Carroll and David Carroll's his top assistant. But I was wrong. I made a mistake.
I adore the Carroll family. They're amazing.
Yes.
Here's a quick question for you, just, as in terms of, even another price horse to add into those exotics. What do you think about the 3 in here? Twirling Mamba showed speed against the likes of, up against Mandaloon and, and then comes back, tries synthetic, going 6, wins by 2 1/4. And now you're going to stretch out. And I mean, you're out of a Storm Gap mare. Twirling.
The synthetic debut was pretty good. You were 9-2 in a 9-horse field. It was an optional 50. I don't follow Turfway that closely. Mm-hmm. But I think 44-4 is a pretty legitimate half mile there. And this horse was just off the 44-4, won by 2 1/4, beat the 2 horse, the Predicament, who was second in that race.
Do you like the Predicament? I know the horse is not in this race. I can't
I love the Predicament. I thrive on
with the guys on TVG.
If you had to pick one horse to get the lead, it might be over Gretzky the Great, right? I don't know. I don't know if Gretzky the Great gets the lead. One of those two is getting the lead, right? The one of the 3 gets the lead.
Well, you definitely don't want to get covered up on the rail, but you've got Tony Mambo's speed, like the King has speed.
Maybe you send, but you have to send pretty hard, I think, to get the lead from a horse like Twirling Mamba and even like the King, who just went wire to wire.
Right.
If he gets used up a little bit too much early, then you have to factor the layoff a little bit, right? You haven't raced and we're getting close to 4 months. Yeah.
Here's another quick question for you. Do you think the 11 is named after our guy?
Wayne Catalano? Catman?
Or do you think it's just
probably right?
It's a kitten's joy?
Well, I think because you have the kitten's joy, then there's that tie-in also. But I would think that
nobody's naming a horse the Catman unless it's in honor.
Most people know Wayne call him Catman. So I would think I'm gonna vote yes. I'm gonna vote yes.
Okay, well, good, because Wayne deserves to have a horse who's a stakes winner. He won the Laurel Futurity named after him.
Right, and if Catman beat Gretzky the Great, that would be something.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Okay, everybody, one other note for you regarding this race. Again, I'm talking about the John Battaglia featuring one of our Future Stars Friday alumni in Gretzky the Great, although Matt thinks he's beatable. This will kick off your pick 4. The first leg and a pick 4, so just thought you should know that. Matt,
and it's the last leg and they only pick 5. They have a pick 5 that begins in the first.
All right, there you go. Boom. And Matt, you're getting a little love here. I promise this is not me, even though it's just this person just goes by the initial R. I don't have guns like that.
You say that?
No, I can't.
There's no give.
Maybe later.
When I push down, there's nothing. My fingers aren't even moving at all. If you notice that. There's no squishiness or anything.
That's fabulous. Okay, now we're going to shift our attention to the Where do you
want to go?
Well, I think we'll go to the Devona Dale first. We'll talk about Bequist in the Devona Dale, since that race comes up earlier on the card, goes off as race 12. She is actually, I showed this really quickly just so people can get a sense. To be honest with you though, do you think, obviously the Derby point system needs to be in place. Do you think the Philly point system needs to be in place?
God, I haven't thought about it.
I'm sorry.
To be honest with you.
It's okay. So there's where she is on the leaderboard right now, currently sitting in fourth with 24 points accrued. The Devona Dale offers up 50 to the winner, 20 to second, 10 to show, 5 for the horse who crosses the wire in fourth.
You know, horse to watch on that list. I'm gonna talk about it in a minute.
Okay, tell me.
Number 12.
The 12, Melataf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well, watch okay.
Shadowell horse. She's undefeated. She's pretty good.
Okay, sounds good. So let's talk about Vequist. Actually, before we start talking about her, let's go ahead and watch the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies so you can all refresh your memory about how good she looks on the track. And yes, you can talk over this if you would like.
Okay.
So let's see here. Sharing the audio. Who's Ava saying goodbye to, by the way?
I don't know. I'm not really sure.
The little animals that she has up there?
Yeah, she's just playing, you know. I don't know. Imaginary friends.
All right, good.
You know, I still have them.
Oh, I don't think you needed to share that. All right, there we go. Here, I'll turn the. Sorry, Larry. I'm going to turn you down just a little bit so Matt Carruthers can narrate what he's seeing.
Who was the one they didn't break very well? Was that
the one with Simply Ravishing?
Simply Ravishing, right? Yeah, she didn't break well at all. I haven't seen this race like the whole. You see the stretch a lot, but I haven't seen the whole race.
Yeah, I'd like showing the whole race because sometimes horses lose the race at the start. So you might as well.
I remember loving Day Out of the Office, and I thought, wow, it's over right now. I mean, this racetrack, I love to begin with. Easy lead. Look at the rhythm she's in.
Look, I adore Tim Ham. I was rooting for Tim Ham, you know, in the heart. My analytical pick on paper was Vequist.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean,
it's one of those things where you're happy and you're sort of like, oh, but it would have been nice. But the team behind Vequist is such a great team as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment too.
Yeah, I just remember the only I was really, I mean, we'll see. You'll see. I mean, Vequist obviously beats her on the square, so you don't really have any complaints. You have everything your way, and you can't beat Vequist, who's so good. Look at Rosario just saving ground, not losing contact with the field. You know, look at the hands on Princess Noor. She's finished. And right now, I still think Daily Office going to kick away. And I'm still thinking she's going to win. And look at Joelle. And give the filly credit, too, right? To be able to to get through on the rail, a relatively tight opening in the fourth start of your career as a 2-year-old. I mean, a lot of horses shy away at that. They don't like that at all. That was a big time win. Very professional. She's tactical. You know, I think she has the ability to go to the lead if the race is paceless. She can stay close like she did in the juvenile field. That was a well-earned win for her. And Day of the Office desperate to hold on for second. You know, the only thing I was really mad about not having that exacta, but you know, that she's really good. Yeah. And I think she's gonna have a really good 3-year-old campaign. But we talk about it all the time. Horses with a lot of class that have, you know, big things. Everything's fine, nothing broke. Nothing broke. Not that I'm aware of, at least. We'll clean it up later. So much go on.
If all else fails, you just ply her with chocolate.
Yeah, we've done that. We can do that again.
Oh, that's why.
That's why she's a little hyped up, I think. Yes. But the big name horse with a ton of class, looking ahead down the road, you know, not that, I mean, it's a grade 2. They want to win, but obviously they're looking at grade 1s. You haven't raced in 4 months. A lot of times the time to beat these horses is when they're quote unquote not 100% cranked up and coming in off the layoff, looking at grade 1s down the road. So I respect her immensely, but I think it might be a shot to try and beat her in this particular race, especially since it's a one-turn situation. Not that she can't beat. I mean, I understand she, you know, you look at her, she lost by an inch at 4.5 furlongs. She won by 9.5 at 7. I'm not saying, but her best performance was still the 2-turn juvenile filly. So maybe she's better at 2 turns than 1. And if I'm right about that, she might be somewhat vulnerable, even though she's worthy of being a 7-5 favorite, which is her morning line.
Well, with whom are you going to try to beat her, Matt Carruthers?
Military.
Millefeuille. Millefeuille. Je parle français un peu.
Très bien.
Yeah, j'étudie pour 12 années de l'école, but now I suck at it. I can't. Yeah.
I don't know any.
Comment allez-vous?
Yeah. I sound like Inspector Clouseau. A little bit doing that. The great, the late great Peter Sellers.
Yes.
I like the 5.
Okay.
Philly by Curlin. So debuted one-turn Belmont, 11-1. She ran a pretty solid second from Mott. Second star of her career, Mile Belmont, 9-5 second choice, 5-horse field. She won like a good thing. Not a huge figure, but look really good. Then they put her in the Demoiselle, third star of her career. And I know some of you are going, oh, it was the slop. It was the off track. I don't think so. I think she's just getting better. And Malathot, there's that name again. Malathot was 2-5 in that race. Pletcher trains her, Shadwell. She's 3 for 3. Malathot's a horse that is a Curlin filly also that cost over $1 million, and her mother's Dreaming of India. So that's why she cost so much. And she looked like she was going to beat her in that race at 9 furlongs. And Malathot at 2-5, got her late and won by.
By the way, check out the alliteration in that company line. Malathot, Millefeuille, Malibu Curl. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, that's a race I would not want to call.
No, gosh, no. Who was calling that day?
I'm sure John Embriel. Your guy, John Embriel. I'm sure he was flawless.
I think John Embriel is one of the most underrated track announcers in the. I love him.
Agree.
Love him. He's like got that old school. I just adore John Embriel. I do.
Rodman and Embriel are the 2 most underrated.
Oh, we got a comment here from JD Fox.
Oh, good.
He said, my whole day, talking about the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Future Stars Friday card, my whole day, this day, was built around day out of the office. It still hurts.
You got to move on, JD. You got to move on. I got caught a wire for 22 times yesterday. You got to move on. But I know he's just kidding. He's just kidding.
This coming from the guy who we'll be going through. He'll be like, "Oh, that horse 2 years ago on the undercard of X."
I know I'm being a hypocrite.
I needed this horse for
JD, I'm being a hypocrite. I was just giving you grief. I'm being a total hypocrite.
Yeah, right.
I can't even look at the running line for Wet Your Whistle because I tweeted about that. I never even tweet. A week before the turf sprint, I said, I'll be wetting my whistle or something like that, right? Come a week from Saturday.
I like this too. You guys speaking French.
Yeah, we're having escargot for dinner too, JD.
At least we were speaking literal French and not the French expletive French.
Yeah. Or some would say escargot.
Oh my gosh! Did you learn some French when you went to school in New Orleans, going to Tulane? Did you pick up some of the French there?
No, it wasn't. There should have been more learning going on in those 4 years for sure. I'm
guessing there were a lot of hurricanes and boys being consumed.
A lot more learning, not a lot of French. No. So I like the 5. I really like the filly just beat her. I know it's not much of a recency edge over Vequist. It's a month. That might mean a little bit, right? It's November. And she is actually turning back in distance a little bit. I like her. It looks like she's training well. I don't know anything more than what anybody else can see. It's a very quick half-mile drill at Payson for her. Mott's obviously been rather good at Gulfstream this meeting. He's hitting over 300. So I'm going to take a crack with her. I don't think anybody else. I guess I should look at the 8 Audios Trippy because Walter hasn't lost a race since like December at Gulfstream, and he's going to be like 20-1. He wins like every race. He's like 6-1, 8. He literally won 7 in a row, and his streak came to an end the other day because he had 2 in the race and he ran 1-2. So technically his streak ended. He beat by himself.
I will never forget. Walter happened to be in town once. We all went got burgers.
Right.
And the restaurant had no mustard, and he could not believe it. You would have thought that you told him that they don't accept American money as currency. It was so funny.
Yeah, in his defense, it's a little odd for a restaurant not to have mustard.
I agree. If they're selling burgers, I agree. It is odd.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a little,
this was in Hermosa back in. But
he's really good about it for sure.
Let's talk about Nyquist a little bit more, though. She is the alumni that is in here, and I want to give a shout out first to her breeder, Tom McGrath, Swilkin Stable. Such a humble guy, small operation. We spoke to him after her win, and he was overcome with emotion. You can check it out. We have a feature that the incomparable Ernie Munich put together, and I got to tell you also, Ernie, he's been a star behind the camera, but Ernie should be in front of the camera more. I mean, he did a package that encompassed both days of the Breeders' Cup as just a review. And it's one of the best of any sport, one of the best summaries of an event I have ever seen. His voiceover is one of the best voiceovers I have ever heard for any sport. So you should check that out as well. But back to VQuiz. Yeah, Tom McGrath, small breeder. In fact, he credits a friend of ours family, talking about Anna Cianello. Her father has Brookdale Farm. They kind of suggested the breeding of Vera Omore, daughter Mineshaft, to go to Nyquist. And that's when they got this filly. And they actually have the mare still boarded over there at Brookdale. I don't know if she's had her foal yet. But, maybe we can get like sort of a Future Stars Friday on the farm with the baby potentially here. But
and Anna's at Gulfstream too, so I'm sure she'll sneak into the winner's circle. I'm sure if VQuist wins.
Better, I would. And so, the other thing that's so fun is that whole group, right? Great group. And Robert Reed talked to me. My gosh, do you remember we were leaving the premises that evening, and they were dancing in the paddock next to the Ecorche statue.
Right.
This was filmed. We started dancing with them as well. I don't know if the film exists in any capacity where it could come up. Our dance moves were pretty fly, I gotta say that day.
Yeah. Butch Reed can cut a rug for sure.
For sure. So, it's a great group. It's very rootable. Red Ortiz is taking over. Obviously, this is a filly. She's had multiple riders aboard. It doesn't matter who's on. She's going to run her race. But you do feel like she's beatable. The horse you're looking at is the 5, and part of that goes into the fact that you respect Malfat.
Well, yeah, I think
race, and you do not think that she was simply moved up by the off track at Aqueduct.
Well, we'll find out, because we're going to have a fast track at Gulfstream. Is there a chance that it was part of it? Curlin, obviously the offspring himself, loved an off racetrack, so maybe. But yeah, I'm gambling that she's just progressing like a lot of horses do, like a lot of Bill Mott horses do. She got better from her first start was okay. Her second start was better. And then her third start, I don't think it mattered if it was a fast track or a sloppy racetrack, was going to be a race like that. I just think she's going the right direction right now. And that's what I'll be gambling on. And yeah, Rosario's riding Jackie's Warrior at Oaklawn. That's why you have a Rod Ortiz here.
And that's why we bring you in. Let's talk. I'll give a little attention also, though, to the 6 in here. That is Crazy Beautiful. She's also already accrued points toward the Kentucky Oaks. She's currently sitting in 8th on that leaderboard. This is a filly. She hadn't done much wrong. In 5 starts over her career, she's got 2 wins and 2 runner-up performances. She won the debutante by 3 3/4. She was second in the Pocahontas to Girl Daddy by 2. And then her stablemate, Simply Ravishing, just crushed her in the Alcibiades. But she was, somebody had to run second. She was second, being 6 1/4 lengths by her own stablemate. But she did finish ahead of Travel Column, who came back to win. What are your impressions of this filly? Daughter of Leo's Map won the 2015 Dirt Mile, half brother to Not This Time, the sire of Princess Noor. And by the way, I believe Princess Noor, she has been retired. She's hanging out at our friends over at Tailor Made Farm, are keeping her happy. I believe she has a date with Into Mischief. Thought I'd throw that out there for you. But yeah, obviously this filly has ability. Where do you think she fits in this field?
She might be an okay underneath horse. If the case for her is this, if you were asking me, make a case for Crazy Beautiful. That's your
Make
job.
a case.
Make a case for her. Okay. She showed a lot of ability. Obviously, she was the first ever recruit on a mile on turf. I don't care where you are.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is Ava doing?
I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know.
Okay.
So she won by 3.5 lengths in her debut on a mile on turf. Then they go dirt, as you mentioned, debutante. Now she crushed. The Pocahontas, she had a terrible trip, and she ran second. Good trip. I think she wins that race, and she's 3 for 3. That's why she's favored against Simply Ravishing the Alcibiades. And I don't know if too many fillies, 2-year-old fillies, were beating Simply Ravishing that day.
No, but he was beating
that day. Everyone proclaimed her some people said cinch in the juvenile fillies. She's the horse to beat. You have Princess Noor on the at the time of this, Princess Noor on the West Coast, Simply Ravishing on the East Coast. We weren't really talking about Bequist and Day of the Office as much at that point in time. So she should be 3 for 3, and then nobody's beating Simply Ravishing for a start. So then her only really bad race is the juvenile fillies, and the argument I would make there is you're too far back over a track you couldn't close. I mean, you couldn't close, so you're 6th early on. Good luck over that racetrack, right? I mean, and the pace wasn't that fast. The only chance you had at all, if you were going to be off the pace over that track at Keeneland, is if they were flying up front. Like in the Breeders' Cup, in the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and Essential Quality, who wasn't that far back, was able to take advantage of that pace because it was so hot. But the juvenile fillies, Ava, why don't you go over there? It's much more fun over there. It's okay. I'm used to like producers in my ear and other things going on, and fans coming up to you like.
It sounded like you had a dog toy earlier. We don't have a dog. Right?
Huh?
It sounded like she had a dog toy earlier, and we don't have a dog.
She's playing with the cow puzzle thing, I think.
Oh, good.
I think is what she's doing. So that being said, I still think she's a better.
She's doing this on purpose, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Any parent out there knows.
She wouldn't be this loud if I was.
No, she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah. So you got to hope that competitive speed.
Yes.
Walder, the 8. Maybe Bequist off the layoff. She's going to be forwardly placed, I would think, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would think she's going to be raring to go. I mean, look at that. Look at that drill there coming in at 59 and 3, second fastest of 30 at the distance. She looks like she's got the screws tightened.
Yeah, and then again, Mark Cassey has horses in every stake race. He's got Curlin's Catch. There was a good performance in the Suncoast. I mean, that race pretty well. Be Sneaky got away on the lead, and she blew by her. The race wasn't that fast. I mean, she's improving. She's got to keep improving. I mean, she was a lot faster in the Suncoast than she was in her maiden special event. And now she's got to be a lot faster in the Devona Dale than she was in the Suncoast. But obviously, we're not talking about horses who have raced 30 times. These are lightly raced horses. So the possibility is there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially, with that pedigree of Curlin over AP Indy. The other thing with that filly, like you said, she answered the question there about going off the Lasix, because sometimes horses go off the Lasix and their form falls off. But she had to run in, she ran there that day without it to compete going into the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. It's Lasix free. The Kentucky Derby is Lasix free this year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a lot of the reason why you're seeing these horses, even before they get into the black type, they want to start their careers out without necessitating to use it, not get them used to it, and so that's why you've seen, for example, Bequist, she's never been on it in all 4 starts, and that's the same for many of these fillies in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted there.
I do remember watching an interview with Antonio Gallardo ahead of the Suncoast Stakes, and he was saying that in terms of Curlin's Catch starts at Woodbine there. He just didn't think that she liked the synthetic. And obviously the surface at Tampa is going to be different from the surface at Gulfstream Park. Tampa, is a real sandy track. So you just don't know until they run over a surface what they're going to do.
Right. I mean, she won at Gulfstream, but I think she's probably a better horse now.
Oh, right. Yeah, she won at Gulf. Yeah. But I'm just, that's right.
But she's probably better. I think she's a better horse now. I mean, I don't need to tell you this, but I mean, it seems like January 3rd. Oh, that was not long ago. 2 months for these horses at this stage. A lot can happen in 2 months in terms of development. I think she's probably, as we hit March on Monday, I think she's probably a lot better horse now than she was the day before my birthday.
That's right. Well, no, but that's what I mean. Like before she ran at Tampa, we didn't know what she was going to do.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like it. So this is a horse that she takes her talent with her, and maybe she liked the surface better there at Tampa, and that's why she put up a bigger figure, or maybe she's just getting better. Period.
Yeah. I would say it's probably more the latter.
Okay. Well, now let's move on. Let's turn our attention again. That is the Devona Dale, Grade 2 Devona Dale, a prep for the Kentucky Oaks, 50 points to the winner, and named after the great Devona Dale, Hall of Famer. Won the Triple Tiara and what used to be the Philly Triple Crown. Quick question: do you think that they should reconstitute that officially, make it the official Philly Triple Crown again, or what? I think they should. I think when there's a sense of officialness to something,
it becomes more important.
Of course. So I think they should.
That's kind of like when I first got into racing, sort of as a young kid. I sort of remember. Obviously, I was on the West Coast. I was in LA, and Devona Dale was the other side, in New York. And you just heard these stories about this, and the racing forum might have a story here or there. So you didn't really see these horses run. So they became sort of mythological to you. Almost, but you hear these great stories about Devona Dale and 8 wins that year and the Triple TR and all these things. And spectacular racehorse from 1979.
1979. That was a good year.
So
let's talk about the Fountain of Youth. Goes off as race 14 on the card. And, this is going to be a 50-point prep for the boys going to the Kentucky Derby, and the alumni that we're focusing on here. Fire at Will won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. We already watched that replay, so we don't need to revisit that. And also, that was turf. He's going to be running on dirt here. He has been on dirt before when With Anticipation came off the turf at Saratoga, but that was in the slop. So he has never been in a race on fast dirt. So, that's going to be the question. Now, as far as that pedigree goes, we know Declaration of War, highly decorated over there in Europe, comes here in 2015. Or 2013?
13.
2013. That's when that was a really scintillating edge of your seat photo finish with Mucho Macho Man, Will Take Charge, and Declaration of War was right there.
Head and nose behind them.
And that was his, only dirt start. He was retired after that. And so he's a son of Warfront. Warfront, obviously he's had a lot of success with his turf horses, but he's had successes with his dirt horses as well. And he himself was a dirt horse, Warfront. So there's the versatility in there. Just a couple of his sons that have, proven that ability. You've got War of Will, who's a dual surface Grade 1 winner. You've got Omaha Beach, who, oh my goodness, what a talent, right? So again, Fire Will by Declaration of War, and then he's out of Flirt by Kitten's Joy. Kitten's Joy, champion grass horse of, I believe, was it 2003?
It was the year Ghost Apper.
2004 then. 2004.
3?
Yeah, Lone Star. 2004.
4. Okay, yeah.
2004. And so, because that's the same year as Spitestown in the sprint.
Singletary.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God.
Singletary. Yeah. It was that year.
Billy Koch is loving you right now. So,
you better.
So there you go. You got Kitten's Joy, got upset in the Breeders' Cup Turf that year by Better Talk Now. Motion got him that edition. And so, but here's the fun thing and this is why I was kicking.
Me and Rich Perloff still argue about that race because I think there should have been a DQ and Rich doesn't, and we still are. Every 2 years it comes up and we argue for 10 minutes about it.
Well, I'm glad that you can argue and still be friends. So here's the thing. This horse, and this is why I was kicking myself after the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf was run and he won. Mm-hmm. It's not because of what he'd already accomplished and being like, oh, of course I should like it. It was because of this. I'm the petty geek, right? How the heck do I not factor in the fact that Fire at Will's mother is a half-sister to Decorated Invader. And that is why she was bred to Declaration of War, who is the sire of Decorated Invader. They knew the cross worked, so they took the sister.
Silly you.
And boom. And check it out. Now you've got another grade 1 winning racehorse. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf by 3. I think this is a pedigree that should continue to get, good as he gets older. But how do you think this factors in for the Fountain of Youth and going forward? I mean, we always talk about Churchill, the main track in springtime, and we saw, for example, Big Brown, Barbaros, they started their careers on turf. What do you
Animal Kingdom synthetic.
Animal Kingdom, yeah. So what do you think about Fire at Will?
I like that they're doing this. I mean, I think it makes sense. Again, what's the, I think there's so much upside. There's not much downside. Okay, you don't run well. Fine, you have a terrific grass horse, right? I mean, give it a shot. The horse, as you just went through it, the horse has pedigree to be able to handle the dirt. Obviously, Maker must like the way he's working on dirt. He's tactical. So, usually you want generally speaking, not always, you look for horses, if you're looking at a dirt horse, a horse that's going to be tactical. If you're a dead closer on grass, maybe it doesn't transfer quite as much. I know Animal Kingdom won from off the pace. There's exceptions to everything. But this horse has some speed, and I think that translates to dirt. And I wouldn't, poo-poo the 65 buyer in the slot in the second start of his career, because if you look, he didn't run very well in his debut at Saratoga on turf. And then his second start, he wins. So all of a sudden, he just kind of figured things out in the Pilgrim. He wins back-to-back races at 13-1 and 30-1.
Yeah.
So, and he won them easily, both races. Yeah. 2 lengths and 3 lengths. On the grass, those are huge margins. So, he's obviously, again, a different racehorse in the Pilgrim and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf than he was in the first 2 starts of his career. And I think it was, regardless of the surface he was going to be on, he was just irrespective. Regardless, irrespective. Regardless, irrespective.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It's okay. I think I knew it when I was doing it, and I totally make another mistake. I'm a man of my word. So, I think this makes sense, and it's not like I don't think there's anybody really to be afraid of.
No.
In this race, there's good horses in here. There should be. It's the prep for the Florida Derby. Mm-hmm. It's basically the prep before the Derby, the Kentucky Derby. We're 2 preps away now from the Kentucky Derby, and Greatest Honor was terrific in the Holy Bull. I was a little surprised, and I went back and looked, as most of our viewers probably know this, that on big days, tracks are a little on the fast side. Up, times are a little quick. And usually, who does that favor? Not always. Usually, it favors front runners. Holy Bull Day, I thought horses did pretty well from off the pace on the dirt. I'm not going to say there was a pronounced closer bias, but I would say if I had to pick a preferred running style, you could, if you're the best horse, you could win anyway. Anyways, but I think off the pace a little bit was a little bit more effective. So it wasn't like, wow, he closed on a day in which, it was a big day and speed was dominant. No, that wasn't the case in that day. He had a really good setup, and he took advantage of it, and he won by nearly 6. So you can't fault the performance. You can just maybe not be quite as in love with it as the way it looks like on paper. There's a difference. So, he could very well win. I'm not going to pick him, but he could win the race. The head scratcher horse is I guess, his prime factor. I don't know what you do with this horse. He won by $1 million in his debut. He was even money in the Holy Bull. He wasn't good. He wasn't. He got put away by Tarantino in the race, really. Tarantino battled in the lead at 26-1, was a clear-cut second in that race. So I don't know. Pletcher, as you can imagine, when you're even money, you're beating almost 10 lengths, you're confounded a little bit. You're a little confused and perplexed. Right. And I think that was his reaction to that. And he's going to give him another chance at it. And if he probably stinks again, they're going to choose a different route for this horse. Probably, I would think, 1 turn. So I don't know what you do with him, but they're going to have to drain the clock. They're going to have to catch it. He's a fast.
And he's got the rail, so he's going to be able to save ground.
And remember, that was, he won undercard on Holy Bull Day. And I just told you that speed wasn't great that day. That was a big time win. He's really never lost.
He overcame the bias.
Right, he's really never lost. I mean, technically he's 4 for 5, but when he's had an opportunity out of the gate and the jockey hasn't broken the iron, the rider hasn't fallen off, he hasn't lost, and he's perfect at Gulfstream. Is distance a question? Absolutely. He's by McLean's music. On the surface, you go, ooh, McLean's music, 2 turns. First of all, this isn't a mile and a quarter. I think you talk more about it at 10 furlongs.
Oh, we just lost McLean's music. Shout out there to the folks at Stone Street. Forest Music passed away just this couple days ago.
Oh, I didn't know
that. Yeah, McLean's music, mommy. Yep.
Well, that is sad. I didn't know that. Yeah, definitely. That's sad news. I should have known. I didn't. But and he actually didn't get the lead in his last start. A horse named Poppy's Pride, I believe, got the lead in that race. And Poppy's Pride against Softer had won 4 in a row going into the swale, and drained the clock, just put him away. And Poppy's Pride was beaten like 25 lengths. So he's a really good racehorse. So anyway, McLean's music. This isn't a mile and a quarter or a mile and 8. It's a mile and 16th. And he's a half to a horse named, I think it's Amazing Audrey, who grass horse, but to me, more importantly, 2-turn grass horse who's earned, I've written down here, $225,000, $250,000, nearly $250,000. So I know it's grass, but still a half to a pretty good 2-turn horse was the thing that I was more curious about. So I like that bit of information that I found out when I dug. And I don't know, you tell me, there's other horses that are tactical, but I don't think anybody runs with this horse. I mean, Zayas is going to be maybe 2 clear at the half mile. And if this horse is going relatively slowly, and we'll see if tomorrow's a different story. It's even a bigger day tomorrow than Holy Bull Day, right? If speed's doing well, which would anybody be surprised? I think we might be surprised if it's not doing well. I actually didn't follow Gulfstream closely today. I was on air yesterday. It was all speed. So I have to go back and look at the charts for today.
What's the weather tomorrow, Matt Carruthers? Weather
beautiful. Well, it's not a cloud in the sky, I think. Fast and firm. But if this horse can get loose in the lead and you can get 9-2, I think he's the bet.
Wow.
And if he stops and gets inhaled and finishes 5th, and we know he's a 1-turn horse, could that happen? Sure. But I think he's a talented racehorse. And that even if he is a better sprinter, if you're a really good horse and you can dictate things on your own in a mile and a 16th, it doesn't matter if you're better at 7 furlongs or 6. You're going to win in a mile and a 16th.
I'm just looking at Prime Factor. One of the things that caught my eye, $900,000 yearling. Why? Because, you're by Quality Road. You're out of a Bernardini mare named Haley Bray. Bernardini, by the way, I mean, my gosh, the stats on him as a broodmare sire are just out of bounds. But not only that, but that mare, Haley Bray, she's a half sister to Dwyer winner Speitster, who was like ultra fast. And she's also, Piota Falls is in there. And then, you've got, oh, sorry. I accidentally brought that back in.
It again? God, I hit it. I know you said that 30 minutes ago.
But that's the female family. That's the female family of Smart Strike and Sky Classic and Dance Smartly and all of those horses. So they got to hope that this horse comes back around, because I mean this is a horse that if he can show that type of ability, that type of talent, that's a stallion's pedigree right there. And it's actually kind of funny because the horse just is outside is by Speitster.
That's right.
Family, right?
I don't know if it means anything, because the horse is only raced at Gulfstream, but Quality Road is obviously turned into a very, very good sire. He loved Gulfstream.
He loved it. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, he had some really good
record in the Florida Derbies, and then he beat his own track record in the Don. Yeah,
he was special that day. He was special. So I don't know what it means if your offspring also like the same track that you liked. I mean, I don't know. You probably know more about that than you definitely know more about than I do. But it's food for thought, as they like to say.
Maybe it's just a matter in the Holy Bull. I mean, the first time you go up against other winners after you had it all your own way, basically on debut. There's definitely something to herd dynamics, and it could really just amount to something as simple as that with the inability to push on when the others came gangbusters after him, talking about Greatest Honor for Shug and Tarantino. So for Rudolph,
there's a chance. Hey, It's you go in graded stakes coming off a 1-6 furlong sprint.
Yeah.
I mean, he needed that race too. He's going to be a lot fitter.
Yeah.
Third start of your career,
I
second
certainly would
time
not
outing.
dismiss. Yeah, I certainly would.
So he was tired, and you can understand you're battling, and you've never gone beyond 6 furlongs. You've only raced once, so he's not a bad horse to throw on the ticket because he's instead of even money, he's going to be again. He's 5-1 morning line. What's he going to be? He's going to be a $10, $11, $12 horse. I think if he wins the race, and it's Irad and Pletcher. So unless if you love somebody in the race, single that horse. You should always single somebody you love. It doesn't make sense. I love the horse. Oh, you single? No, I use 4 horses. What do you mean you use 4 horses? You single. You love somebody, use 4 horses? I never understand what people think to me. No, I use the 27, 9, and 10.
I think these wagers, the pick 4, the pick 5, it's given people the sense of safety net, and then they get so used to it, it becomes almost like a security blanket also. And they don't want to, for just a little bit more money, I could add this horse to my ticket. I might as well spend the extra. And then they start convincing themselves, well, what's a few more bucks? And they go in and in and in. So finally, over the course of time, they lose money doing that, even if they hit a few times.
Right. And then you say to the person, oh, so so the horse wins. And you're like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Don't you love when they go like, I mean, we've done this too, but let's not pretend. We go this too, where you go X amount deep and you get the favorite.
Oh, right. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I love a horse, but I'm going to use 5 others in the race. And then you say to the person when they're right about it, and the horse made $16, you go, good pick. Too bad you didn't single since you love the horse. Right. You cross the horse to win, right? And they go, oh, no, I didn't bet the horse to win. I'm like, okay, so you love the horse. So then you give equal weight to 4 other horses in the race to the horse that you loved. It's so irrational to me. I get
what you're saying with that.
I don't understand. But anyway, if you love somebody in this race, I recommend singling that horse. If you have no opinion in the race, which is probably the direction I'm going to go. Okay. You spread out, and if you spread out, you use a prime factor if you're going to spread out in this race, right?
Yes. And not to make you feel bad, but I was going to try to get Kendrick Carmouche for today's show. So you're not my first pick, but he was traveling, so the schedule wasn't going to work out. But of course, he was very nice, and hopefully, I mean, if Barrett Will gets on the trail, maybe we'll be talking.
I'm real happy for him because all his career. I mean, he's been lights out in New York.
He's been so good, and this is wonderful. I mean, I think he got his first grade 1 win though. Like as great as he's been, I think he got that first grade 1 with Timber. Your horse.
Jack's horse.
Yes.
I bet the horse.
Yes. And, but he's been on a lot of great horse, Pure Sensation and,
He actually rides Jakarta for Maker and the Honey Fox. Horse is 15-1. They have to catch Kendrick. That horse is going to be in front. And I don't know. We'll find out if she's good enough to win. It's the race that got Stormy's in, but that's a price horse that I also like a little bit tomorrow. But as I digress and talk about
you dropping some bonus knowledge. Oh my God.
Yeah, this isn't the first show I've been asked to be a guest for over the last 20
years. Look at this, by the way, Matt. So my hair right here, I've got these short hairs that are like sticking out. And I can't get it to stay down. I'm just going to leave it up. It's kind of like a fascinator, right?
Okay, I didn't really notice it, but yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So anyway, now in all earnestness, I don't want to drive people away. In all earnestness, let's now turn our attention to what many are considering to be the main event. Are you ready to rumble? Can I say that without getting in trouble? Is that copyrighted?
Yeah, I mean, right. Ken does it all the time in our show, so you can do it.
Okay, good. So I am, of course, talking about the Grade 3 Southwest, which is funny because obviously the Fountain of Youth, that's a 50-point race, whereas the Southwest is 10 for the.
Didn't they run that race a month ago, the Southwest? I thought that was over with.
Right, exactly.
Blizzard.
Inform our viewers why there's been a delay. Go ahead. You're jumping in with that. Go for it.
Because they had multiple blizzards in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I was talking to a friend of mine that was there a couple Mondays ago. He's like, they're not running this race this weekend. And they canceled like 3 hours later. It snowed like 9 inches. It was
you didn't lock the door. I can hear her coming after me. Bait her with M&Ms.
No, she's way over here now.
Okay.
So anyway, the weather is still going to be a factor because it's supposed to – I think the rain has held off a little bit. but it's supposed to rain, I think, starting early tomorrow. I think we're probably still going to have a sloppy racetrack.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter for either of our top two. Their pedigrees, I mean, Essential Qualities by Tappet, that's AP Indy line. They love off-going. Jackie's Warrior, you've got, he's out of Unicorn Girl by AP 500. He's on the AP Indy. I mean, there's plenty of reason to still like them in off-going, no matter how it should come up. And so, yeah, I sort of like just, pointed out our top two in here. Let's go ahead before we discuss this race and take a look back at the TVG Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, featuring Essential Quality as he kept his record perfect going. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying let's listen to the race too. We won't talk over this one.
Oh, okay. I'll show full screen then. I'll show full screen. And, not only was Essential Quality staying perfect, but Jackie's Warrior, game racehorse, he suffered his first career defeat. So let's take a look here. Again, we're going to watch the Breeders' Cup TVG Juvenile presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance.
For the start. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And Jackie's Warrior broke very sharply, but will have early pressure from Dreamer's Disease. And Classier's right up there. Hard held just in behind the leaders as they race for that turn. But it's Likeable. Next is going wide, floated out there 5 deep as they move into that turn. And then it's King Fury, right alongside of Hot Rod Charlie. Essential Quality, mid-pack here, 7 lengths behind. Reinvestment Risk is next. And then comes Calibrate to the outside. 22.58 was the opening quarter mile. They're rolling up front. Camp Hope is next on the inside of Rombauer. And then Late Runner sitting on Go. And Keep Me in Mind. So up the backstretch they go here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And on the inside, it is Dreamer's Disease with a narrow lead. Likeable is right alongside in second. Jackie's Warrior ups to get off the pace here. That pace is fast, so will sit third. And Classier is there to the inside in fourth. Past a half mile in 45.31 seconds. It continues to be a hot tempo as they race for the far turn. Dreamer's Disease on top as they round the turn. Jackie's Warrior begins to move. Now up into second position. Hot Rod Charlie has made a sudden move and has stormed up into third and is gaining ground on the top two. Then Essential Quality in fourth as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Jackie's Warrior strikes the front. Hot Rod Charlie circles up on the outside. The two of them will turn for home together. And Essential Quality is trying to get them. Here's Hot Rod Charlie. A huge long shot at 94-1. Coming into the final 16th. But Essential Quality runs by. Jackie's Warrior's giving way. Essential Quality's going to do it. Essential Quality has won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile over long shot Hot Rod Charlie. Keep Me in Mind came late for third. Jackie's Warrior ended up fourth. The final time was 142.09. Essential Quality, and Luis Saez did it.
Okay, the first question. Jackie's Warrior just put in a lot of great performances and just tired having to duel with these horses here in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, or
I think I froze here. I am frozen, it looks like.
You are frozen, but you look very...
I'm very...
You are frozen.
Yeah, I am.
Let me. Now we may need to remove you and you come back in. I'm going to kick you out. You come back in. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I'm kicking you out. Bye.
Bye.
Kick gas. Okay. Matt Carruthers has been kicked out, but he's going to come right back in here. As we continue this conversation, we're now talking about the Grade 3 Southwest, which goes off as race 10 at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. $750,000 purse. You've also got 10 points to the winner toward the Kentucky Derby. And there is the beautiful visage of one Mr. Matt Carruthers. Okay. Oh, yeah. Are you frozen again?
No, I'm serious. My mime impression.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
The thing about so I know Hot Rod Charlie was, 1,000-1, whatever he was.
Yeah.
He was loaded.
Half-brother totally, by the way.
If I didn't know, that was the first time I ever seen that race. You said, watch this race. I would have thought that Hot Rod Charlie won that race by 3. He was loaded. So I don't care what his odds were. Essential Quality got by a horse. Yeah, he was a little tired at the end, but ran a giant race and was loaded a quarter of a mile from home. So, but that's what we were talking about that day. in order to win from off the pace had to be ridiculous. If the pace was just modest, closers couldn't have a chance. But Essential Quality, got pace. Obviously, they were flying.
45-1 for the half.
Yeah, but he's really good. I mean, Hot Rod Charlie backed it up, right? I mean, the Lewis, he was beating a neck or something in that race.
Well, here's my other question regarding that, because I think Dan Torsion, I was doing that show with Dan, Derby Live, following the prep races there at Santa Anita. We were talking about the Robert B. Lewis, and I believe Dan was on Hot Rod Charlie as I was for that race. Although, I mean, obviously we were respecting Dino Spirit and the game performance he put in for sure. But one of the things, that I do wonder about, and I think it's fair to consider, when you are looking at this and going forward and handicapping too, is, we had 3 horses come down to the wire together. Hot Rod Charlie was between Medina Spirit, and for some reason, the name escapes me of the horse on the outside of him. The new whip rules, I just wonder if anything may have changed a little bit.
Maybe.
I'd have to go back and really look. But I mean, once this horse gets sandwiched in, and I don't know, I mean, you're only allowed to urge a horse so many times. So I just don't know. That's
definitely affecting outcomes for sure.
So
I don't know about that particular race, but in general, yes.
So now talking about, the fact that I whatever his odds were, I think he's a legitimate racehorse, Hot Rod Charlie.
I agree.
Jackie's Warrior did a lot of running here early on that was very impressive already, sticking close. And you could say he did a lot of heavy lifting, even though he wasn't the actual pace setter himself. So do you think, having a long campaign as he'd already had comparatively, I mean, here's a horse, you win your main special weight, you win the Saratoga Special by 3, you win the Hopeful by 2 1/4, you win the Champagne by 5 1/2. Do you think everything just caught up to him, or do you think it was the mile and the 16th? Do you think the horse could be 100% fit, and he still might have come up just a bit short in a grade 1 race where you've got legitimate fractions? Obviously you got to believe the trainer when he says, when it's Steve Asmussen, or Asmussen, that he believes his horse can get the distance. You got to believe the trainer, right?
Yeah, I think it was the pace. I mean, I think it was 90% pace is why the top 3 in that race were 8th, 7th, and last at the half-mile pole. He was the best of speed, and it wasn't even close. I mean, Dreamer's Disease got the lead at some huge price. He was in chase. I mean, it was if you can run a great 4th at 4 to 5, which sounds contradictory. You don't have the board at 4 to 5, but if you can do it in a 14-horse field where you're part of a 45 1/2, even over a track that's really playing very quickly, and you're the best of the front runners. The other front runners, I mean, we're all talking about the rear view mirror at the end of that race. I mean, I didn't what did they finish, second to last, third to last, and last, and he stuck around. I thought it was a really good performance.
Do you think 2 turns is going to be an issue? Because here's the thing: who's going to go with this horse, right? Jackie's Warrior looks like low speed, so who's going to go with him? Do you think the 2 turns might be an issue?
I mean, you want me to talk about McLean's music again for 5 minutes and pedigree? I mean, we can disagree. I mean, it's a drain. He's the drain the clock, right? I mean, we have a couple of McLean's music horses that are really fast. Can they get the distance? And I would say, I don't think who runs with him in this race?
That's what
I love Essential Quality. And in terms of who do I think has a better chance of winning the Derby right now at 10 furlongs? Essential Quality.
Yeah.
This race tomorrow at a mile and a 16th is out. Jackie's Warrior, I think he has a better chance of winning. I mean, once Essential Quality is 3 to 2, Jackie's Warrior is 8 to 5. I wouldn't be surprised if Jackie's Warrior, if the track's favoring speed over a sloppy racetrack throughout the day, which it very well could. I think Jackie's Warrior very well could be favored. I mean, they're basically co-favorites as it is on the morning line. I don't Sapa's Day. Asmussen's not going to put pressure on Jackie's Warrior with his other horse.
No,
that's the other speed in the race is Asmussen. So I don't think Asmussen's going to ruin the race for Asmussen.
Still, even though that horse has speed, it's still not Jackie's Warrior speed.
No, I agree with that too. But if you had to pick one horse, you would go Sapa's Day. Oh, it's also Asmussen. I we'll see. Essential Quality. It's not like he's slow, right? I mean, he basically won the Breeders' Futurity wire to wire. That's why this horse is special. Sprinting, he closes. Routing, slow pace, he wins on the lead. Routing, fast pace, he wins from off the pace again. So he can adjust to what the style is. I mean, Luis Saez is as aggressive as any rider in the country. He knows he's out. In his mind, he could be wrong. Maybe somebody else wins this race. Maybe Spielberg wins for Baffert. He wins every other race at Oaklawn. But in Luis Saez's mind is, I have to beat Rosario. That's what he's thinking. And he knows Rosario is going to be in front. So he knows his horse isn't as quick, but I cannot lose contact completely with Joe Rosario. So Essential Quality is not going to be 6-7 lengths behind Jackie's Warrior early on this race. It's going to be more like 2 to 4 lengths behind.
Now, both these horses have not run since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but that race is, we saw Keep Me in Mind. Keep Me in Mind was going to potentially be pointed toward here. They decided not to run him. I forget where he's pointing toward next, but I think they're going
to wait for the Rebel. I think at this point, which is in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Robertino Diodoro, right? With the delay and everything. Why try to just pick up 10 points when you now have to go up against Essential Quality and Jackie's Warrior when you can hold off weight and
try horses couldn't even train because of the weather. So that was it.
So Keep Me in Mind had already run out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, won the Kentucky Jockey Club there at Churchill Downs. So how do you make money in this race? Because the top two look like the legitimate top two.
Wow, that's the hardest question you've asked me in this.
I know, right? I try to play softball with you enough, so I figure out.
I honestly, in and of itself, this race, just in this race, how do you make money?
Well, have you looked at the sequence, and which is
not really, Ren. Okay. I haven't at this point.
Then just this race.
I would probably. Usually, I think if only 2 horses can win, I'll just cover myself and use both. I would take whatever. If you're playing, I would single one. Personally, I would single Jackie's Warrior. And another thing, I love Essential Quality, but I would probably single Jackie's Warrior.
This is why I think you want, because I don't, as an ambassador of Breeders' Cup, I don't want to play favorites. So I let you do it.
No, I don't have a problem with doing it. And I like Steve and Brad. So and Joelle's been great to me.
Finally, girl back in action, by the way. I know I just cut you off.
Right, Sunday.
Yes.
Missouri, right?
Yes, Spencer picked her up for $9.5 million at Fasig-Tipton. So her broodmare career is not happening just yet. She's back in Brad's barn, and as you said, ready to roll.
I mean, both these horses have won first out. So you look for horse off a layoff. What do? You look for a layoff line,
right,
or first out, and which is essentially the same thing. And they were both dominant first out, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. So I mean, there's not a lot of depth to the race. Let's be honest. And I think the fact that now the Southwest is pushed up against the Rebel probably hurt this race from a depth standpoint a little bit, because a lot of times you go Southwest and you go Rebel, right? Obviously, you can't do that now since they're 2 weeks apart from one another. So it's one of those 2-horse races that I love the 2-horse races where I disagree with everybody who's calling it a 2-horse race. And I like that third horse, but this looks like a 2-horse race. It does. I don't see any of these other horses. I mean, we'll see Spielberg. I mean, and for horses made $263,000, he's been a disappointment. I mean, for $1 million. A couple of gutty wins, but I don't really know who he's beaten to this point in Southern California. Santa Cruzer's in bad form. Last Samurai was just drilled in an optional 75. It's just they're kind of just filling the race, it looks like, and it's the big 2. And I think the horse that's faster is going to win.
Well, here are some quick little pedigree notes for you, since you've heard this before, and I've said this on the show before, but in case anybody hasn't heard it already. So Essential Quality, you're by Tappet. You're out of an elusive quality mare named Delightful Quality. She is a half sister to 2005's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies champ and Eclipse champion filly Folklore. Folklore, by the way, the grand dam of Japanese Triple Crown champion Contrail. So fabulous pedigree there. That's a sire pedigree. And Jackie's Warrior, we already talked about McLean's Music, and who knows like you said, who knows what McLean's Music himself would have done? He ran one time, put up 114 buyer figure doing it once. And by the way, fun little note there too, it was Steve Asmussen who trained him as well.
What do you go? Did he go 6.5 in his only start too? So it was like one. Did he go? Or was he go 6? He went 107.3 or something crazy.
He went something ridiculous. It was Smithy up. Steve trained. And so they're on the bottom side, Unicorn Girl, and many people have never heard of AP 500. I mean, obviously you can guess just by the name he's by AP Indy, which he is. But his dam is a half sister to Sakawista. And again, I am not talking about Jackie's Warrior himself, his mom. I'm talking about his broodmare sire, AP 500. His mom is a half sister to Sakawista, who won the distaff in '87 and was champion 3-year-old filly.
Yeah, she was great. Yeah.
You've got pedigree credentials there. And I'll tell you, I mean, both these horses are so impressive in the flesh. They're both very different type. Essential Quality is more of the, classical, longer type. And Jackie's Warrior looks a little bit more shorter coupled, but both are just so impressive in the flesh.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Jackie's Warrior was 4-5 in the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Yeah,
I mean, he'd been destroying his competition. The amazing thing also, he wasn't favored in any of his first 3 wins.
That is crazy.
Finally, people figured it out in Champagne. Because I think Reinvestment Risk was the horse that was favored over him in the Hopeful, and he beat him by 2 3/4 lengths. And then Jackie's Warrior crushed him again in the Champagne. I mean, Midnight Bourbon was third in that race. Midnight Bourbon is also Asmussen, right? And he came back to win the Comte, and then in a terrific third recently in the Risen Star, right? So, I mean, that's a good racehorse. That Jackie's Warrior, I know it was 2-year-old and it was 1 turn, it was Champagne, but that's a good racehorse who he beat. And then Midnight Bourbon came back, third in the Risen Star to Mandaloon, who's Brad Cox. We keep talking about Cox and Asmussen.
Right? No, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches, but these two are so fun to root for. I mean, it's just really fun seeing this play out time again, just the class lines and everything. Right now, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look up the chart for McLean's Music. So that's why I'm just curious what those.
Was it 7 and 3,
opening quarter 21 and 24 100s.
Well, it was 7 3. He went. Is that what you said?
He went 6 furlongs on the dirt.
Oh, 6.
So hold on, wait till you hear.
So
21 and 24 100. So 21 and 1.
Yeah.
23 and 48 100s. Then 55 and 5 100s.
You're making me do math. I got to add up the fractions.
I mean, it's the final time 107 and 44 100s. 107
7 and 2. I thought it was 7 and 3. 7 and 2.
So I mean, it's just like you almost sort of envision a rocket shuttle when it breaks barrier back into Earth's atmosphere and it's like catching fire. I mean, just a really ultra talented horse that we only got to enjoy the one time, but what a tremendous sire he's been in passing along this ability. Now let's take a look at this real quick. This is our current leaderboard for the Kentucky Derby. Any thoughts, Matt Carruthers?
Yeah, people, I mean, again, anybody who's in this business, I'm not the only one. Everyone gets asked, who I'm not really a looking ahead crystal ball. You know me, I'm a kind of a day player. I mean, I'm more concerned with the late pick 5 at Aqueduct tomorrow. I mean, I love the Derby itself. I absolutely love it. And I'll catch Derby fever. I catch it, but I don't catch it like, usually in February. I get excited. I'm starting to a little bit, I guess, when you get these prep races. Is there anybody on this list? Because a lot of people are different. They go, oh, I love this horse. And they already know in January or February who they're going to, if the horse stays healthy, who they're going to play.
So far, I
don't know
anybody that excites me as much as Essential Quality. I respect all these other horses. I do. But as far as the Derby itself, like you said, yeah, for sure. Jackie's Warrior I definitely just like lone speed him and go and win tomorrow. But as far as the Derby itself goes so far, while I do respect the other horses who have put up big performances, I don't know. I think maybe it's sort of just the lightly raced aspect of that. He's done nothing wrong so far. And the fact that, like, I feel there's still so much there because he's been kind of green in a lot of his, in how he's 3 starts in, right? There's so much there for him to just grow and evolve maturation-wise, not only physically, but mentally. And he looks so happy when he runs. I mean, this is a horse who looks like he's really enjoying his job.
Yeah, I mean, when you show this list in a month, you'll have 5 more on this list, probably 4 more. I mean, life is good.
It's weird not to see a Bob Baffert here.
Well, life is good. Is the horse on the
I was going to say in the top 5.
Yeah, but I think most people still think he has 5 of the best 10. I mean, he's still loaded this year. They don't have the points quite yet. At this juncture. I mean, Cadu River looked. I don't know how his win. He won the Smarty Jones, right? So I'm guessing maybe they're going to go in the Rebel too. I don't know. That one was pretty.
Second. We just saw Cowan run second in the Saudi Derby, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. Right. He lost to I remember that pick 3 well. He lost to a 35 or 40 to 1 shot.
Go ahead, Bad Beat Matt. Go ahead, Bad Beat Matt.
No.
Tell the folks what happened to you.
No, it's whatever. I went all and got that horse, but it ended up not working out very well.
Our daughter has found me. Shall I show?
Oh, really? Okay.
Shall I show the folks sitting at home? Come here, Ava. Come here. Here, keep talking, Matt.
She snuck out. I didn't even know she left. Yeah, I guess me. I'm just tunnel vision. I'm like Jordan back in at the United Center. You don't even hear the crowd. You just block everything out and just focus on the task at hand. That's what I was doing right now and lost track of the 2-year-old who ventured down to see. You can hear her now. There she is. You missed her. You know her. You love her. She's Ava Carruthers. There she is.
All right, 1 second. Let's do it this way. Mama's got to your piece, okay?
Okay. All right.
All right. She's saying Happy Valentine's Day still.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Very cheerful household. Every day.
We are. Every day is Valentine's Day with these 2. Hi. Ava, say hi. Look. Can you wave? Huh? Wave at Daddy. Hi. Blow that kiss. Oh my gosh, my daughter. Okay, our daughter. She's mostly mine though. I had to carry her. So she's adorable. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, final thoughts. Oh, I have some nice compliments for you here.
Oh, good.
Go, Matt. Great job with the handicapping.
Thank you.
He also says, greetings from Zachary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, New Jersey. I missed it.
Don't throw from Monmouth.
Oh, I'm craving a pork roll now.
If I had $1 for every beer I've had at Zachary's, I'd be a rich man.
Would you?
Great pizza, fun place. Zachary's has been around for a long time in Oceanport.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's very
Great
nice.
For people. Yep.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so best bet of the weekend. Go.
The whole weekend? Does it have to be for this show?
The whole weekend.
Oh,
weekend. We already talked about our future stars.
God, you're putting the horse.
Best bet weekend.
Can I go Aqueduct then?
Sure, you can go wherever you want. You can go Dubai.
I mean, New York's. If I have a bread and butter, it's New York, right?
That's right. Yes.
All right.
Right, you got blanket.
Again, I'm not gonna. I've had some bad beat. Short because this has been forever. I had a good hit February 6th, and the horse who won the last leg of the sequence was Win with Pride.
Okay.
And that horse comes back tomorrow, and they stretch him out to 7 furlongs. The rail's been great. Today I took the day off. I was kind of handicapping for tomorrow and prepping for this show. And so I got to go back and take a look at how the rail was today in New York. But I like Win with Pride, the 3 horse in the 8th race in New York. Stretching out to a distance he's had success at, 7 furlongs, coming off a gutty win. And now he's third off the layoff for Gary Siaka, and there's not much pace in that 8th race. 6-1.
Okay, you got it. Win with Pride. And then, like we said, as we've been discussing, we've got so many horses running this weekend who are Future Stars Friday alumni starting tonight. the John Battaglia, the great one. He's talking about Bill Gretzky, talking about Gretzky, Bill Great.
It's like in a half hour now, by the way, that race.
I know, right? Right. 8:18, I think, is post time. Going off, let me see here. 8:16 Eastern.
Oh, is that okay? My fault. Okay.
16 Eastern. Gretzky the Great has post one that is going to start a pick 4. So again, that's the John Battaglia, $100,000 and 10 points to the winner toward the Kentucky Derby on the line. Gretzky the Great, we last saw him in action in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, in which he was 6th. We'll see if he gets a little redemption today. And then, of course, this weekend, we've got Vequist as well as Crazy Beautiful in the Devona Dale Grade 2. Points on the line there for the Kentucky Oaks, Fillies for the Lilies. As then we got the Fountain of Youth, where we're going to see Fire Will try Fast Dirt for the first time, and then he was just destroying the place down here. Right now. I'm just going to tell you. And then, of course, the showdown that everybody's waiting to watch. That is going to be Essential Quality versus Jackie's Warrior in the Southwest States.
That's one of those rare races for a serious horse player like me that it's not about the action. It's about, I become a fan for a race like that. It's not a good betting race, but boy, that's going to be a really great race to watch, I think.
I agree with you. I definitely do. So everybody, thank you for watching. I hope you had fun with us. And let's enjoy the racing action. We're getting close, right? Can you believe how fast things are going?
It's March Monday. I know. Daylight savings time is next weekend. I know it's nutty.
It is nutty. So, okay, everybody, thank you so much. This has been your Future Stars Friday forecast. I'll take you back here hopefully next week. I've kind of been on a week on, week off, depending on what's going on. So hopefully we have some fun stuff to talk about with some of these horses coming out of the race, and I can get no offense to you, Matt Carruthers, you're a fabulous guest, but maybe somebody where you would be more in a position to watch Ava for me.
Whatever you need, I'm there for you.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, everybody, check you here on the forecast next time.